What you're about to hear might frighten you.
In 2016, I was going through the worst period of my life. My business had failed, I was financially broken, and all I wanted was to disappear, to get away from everything. That's when I moved to a small town in rural Utah, far from the city, surrounded by forests, almost isolated. I bought a house with a yard for an unbelievably low price. It was located just outside the town. The price was so cheap that I didn't even question it. My plan was simple: fix the house, renovate it slowly, and start a quiet farming life. But this house changed my life forever. At first, I kept hearing cracking noises at night, from the walls, from the ceiling. I blamed it on the renovation. Old house, old wood. I ignored it. But a few months after moving in, I started hearing whispers, not clear words, just voices, low, distant, constant. I knew someone, or something, was speaking. I didn't know anyone in town. I was always a quiet, introverted person. I couldn't tell anyone what I was experiencing. At night, I couldn't sleep. During the day, I would collapse from exhaustion. I needed a companion, something to keep me sane. So I asked a friend from the city to help me get a dog. His name was Alfred. Alfred was calm, emotional, extremely intelligent. After a while, I realized something terrifying. He could sense things before I could. And that's when the real nightmare began. Alfred never slept at night. He would walk to the back room of the house, sit in front of the door, and stay there until morning. Quietly, he would howl. No matter what I did, he refused to move. That room, always that room. I started feeling tense, uncomfortable, afraid, but I had no money to move elsewhere. One day, I went into town and spoke to the sheriff. I told him about the whispers, about Alfred's behavior. He laughed. He suggested I see a psychologist, but I was certain. And Alfred, he stayed awake every single night. There was a small hardware store in town where I bought renovation supplies. The store was run by an old man, quiet, pale, with unsettling eyes. One day, as I placed my items on the counter, he asked, "Have you gotten used to the house? Are your nights peaceful?" That question sent a chill through my body. I told him everything. He stayed silent for a moment. Then he said, "That house is cursed. That's why it's so cheap." He continued, "No tenant or owner has ever stayed there longer than a month." I asked why. In the 1970s, a family lived in that house. They couldn't have children, so they turned to dark magic. They hired a sorcerer. Rituals were performed. Eventually, a child was born. They prepared the back room for him. At that moment, my blood ran cold. The old man continued. As the child grew, he became different. He didn't sleep at night. He pretended to sleep, then climbed out of his window into the backyard. Doctors couldn't help. Psychologists failed. Finally, they called a preacher. The preacher said the child was cursed and could destroy the family. In 1978, the entire family was found dead inside the house, but the child was never found. That evening, I returned home after dark. Alfred was sitting in front of the same door, howling. I approached him. I reached for the door handle. Suddenly, Alfred went completely insane, barking violently, trying to stop me. But curiosity overcame fear. I opened the door. I froze. The room was pitch black. The walls were covered in red symbols, strange markings, words I had never seen before. The window was boarded shut from the outside. Alfred cried and backed away. I slammed the door shut. That night, I did not sleep. Whispers, creaking doors, window noises. The house was no longer safe. I left. I jumped into my truck and drove straight to the hardware store. It was closed, so I went to the sheriff's office. I told him everything. He asked only one question. "The old man from the hardware store?" "Yes," I said. The sheriff's face changed, and he said, "I've known that store for 5 years. It's run by a 30-year-old man named David. He doesn't have an old father." At that moment, my entire reality collapsed. Then who had I been talking to? I left that town the same day. Today, it's 2025. I'm still receiving psychological treatment. I still hear whispers. I still can't sleep at night. The preachers say it will fade with time. I hope one day it finally does.